All right, episode 25 here on DGweekly Live. We're reviewing probably, maybe not the most popular disc in our entire lineup, but I bet it's up there. I wouldn't bet it's up there. I know it's up there. Episode 25 here, we are going to be talking about the eMac Truth. This is our staple mid-range disc that is in just about everyone's bag. Very, very straight, very, very true to its angle of release. If you throw it on a hyzer, it's going to hold that hyzer. Throw it flat, it's going to go flat. All that good stuff. But we do have quite a few people here in the chat already, so we will let that build up just a bit. We have Mr. eMac himself, Eric McCabe, is in the stream here with us. So welcome everyone. For everyone else who's not Eric McCabe, because he is not allowed to enter into the giveaway that we are going to be doing for this one right here. He has plenty of eMac truths himself. Everyone else, we are going to be giving this one away, like I just said, at the end of the stream, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And then everyone who doesn't win this super pretty, by the way, like, look at that, super like milky, opaque. It's got that nice rainbow stamp on there. I really like that one. He says he will sign it though. Okay, perfect. Eric will sign it. So whoever wins this at the end of the stream, if you want Eric to sign it, let me know. But everyone else who doesn't win, you can save 15% on Lucid, Fusion, and Biofusion. Or no, excuse me, Moonshine, not Biofusion. Moonshine, Lucid, and Fusion stock stamp eMac Truths with the coupon code eMac Truth. Capital EMAC, capital T as well. I'm not sure if it's case sensitive, but just to be safe, make it all caps there. eMac Truth 15, excuse me, to save yourself 15%, and that runs all the way through December. What would that be? The 11th. 11th, yeah, next Tuesday. So we have an entire week to go ahead and do that. And I'm sure if you want Eric to sign that, even if you don't win the giveaway, if you want Eric to sign it, leave that in your order notes, and we will get that to him, and he will definitely sign it. Martin says, how long is the code good for, Martin? It is Tuesday the 11th at midnight Central Time is when that code will expire, and it should already be working. Need that signed, says Matthew. Definitely sign it, Cody says. So, okay. So whoever wins it, just to make sure that they want it, Eric says he's happy to sign any and all eMac Truths, and I would be willing to bet he would be happy to sign any and all discs you purchase. Doesn't even have to be an eMac Truth. It should be. It should be an eMac Truth, but it doesn't have to be. So yes, we are going to be giving this one away. Eric will absolutely sign that for you as well. And I don't know if you guys can see all of these. Let's see, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 different eMac Truths here. None of them are the same. All different plastics, all different stamps. And this isn't even all of what we have. This is all of what I could fit on the table. So if you are the type of person who wants one mold, and you just want one disc, and you want different stabilities, different stages of wear, you're doing yourself a disservice if that mid-range is not an eMac Truth, because I challenge anyone. There's almost 100 people in here right now. I challenge all 100 of you to find a mid-range that you can get a wider variety of plastics and shot types out of than an eMac Truth. I bet you can't. Alex is behind the camera, and I just heard him go, okay. So if Alex believes it, then now you know. So the eMac Truth, will jump into the flight numbers and things like that. It is a speed 5, glide 5, turn of 0, and a fade of 2. And those numbers are spot on. It is a fast mid-range. Speed 5 is up there. Once you start getting into that 6 speed territory, you kind of start getting into fairway driver land, we'll call it. And I think the speed 5, glide 5, perfectly tells you that this disc is going to come out of your hand fast for a mid-range, and it is going to glide far for a mid-range. If you're looking, it's so weird, man. It's almost like it's very much still a mid-range disc. Don't get it too twisted. It's very much still a mid-range, but it is a far-flying mid-range. It's definitely not. You're not going to throw it as far as your Explorers, your Escapes, your Getaways, things like that. But if you were to throw this up against, like, we'll say the Suspect is a speed 4 mid-range, the eMac Truth is easily going to go 50 feet farther, I would say. So it comes out of your hand fast, and it glides a lot. So if you like that feel of a mid-range disc, but just need a little bit more distance, you got to try out the eMac. And then 0 turn, I think, is perfect. If you are an Eric McCabe of the world and you can really crank on your mid-ranges or just discs in general, you will get a little bit of stability or low goodness. You will get less high-speed stability. That was a tongue twister for me. Sorry about that. You will get high-speed turn, we'll say. You will get a little bit more turn than a 0 would indicate, but if you're not an Eric McCabe, like for me, for example, this Lucid Truth, here, I'll go ahead and throw those clips up. As you can see in these clips here, I am not getting any sort of turn, especially this one, probably close to a 5-10 mile an hour headwind, and that looks like a verdict. Just goes straight and hyzers. And this one I threw it a little bit harder with a little bit less hyzer, and look at that, stands up straight and just ever so slightly drifts off to the right. So I think the 0 turn 2 fade is spot on. These are with that same probably 5 to 10 mile an hour tailwind, and you can see it's still holding super straight. I'm throwing it flat and it's going straight. So the 0 turn 2 fade just a little bit at the end there. Nothing huge. Definitely less so than a verdict. But I would say that's what it's going to be more similar to. It's perfectly in between the truth, the stock truth, and the verdict, and I think that's exactly what Eric wanted when they went back to the drawing board with this. As far as the profile of the disc, it's not super domey. Some of the Moonshine eMacs will have a little bit more dome to them, but it's not like pop top. It's just a very nice, smooth, rounded, comfortable dome. And then the bead is, I would call it a micro bead. It's definitely not as big as something like the Anchor from Latitude 64 or the Justice. It definitely doesn't have that full-on bead, but there is a little bit of a bump there. So I would say it's got a micro bead for sure. Not super deep, not super thick rim, just a very comfortable, really, really solid mid-range. Like I said, if you're new to the stream, because we do have quite a few more people here, this is by far, I think, our most versatile disc. I think you could throw this on hyzer shots, hyzer flips, flat shots, kind of slow turnovers. You can throw it on forced over antes. If you power down on it, you can throw some shorter flex shots with it. You could throw it on approach shots. You could throw it on sidearms. Like the plastic variety that we have perfectly represents all of the different shot variety or shot varieties that you could throw with this disc. It is ridiculous how much you can do with just this disc. So we do have a lot of people in the chat, like I just said. If anyone has any questions, I see Eric in there answering. He definitely has more authority than me on this disc because that's his signature, that's his person. Absolutely, Eric McCabe is the eMac Truth man, obviously. But I do see Roger Rabbit says, how does it compare to a Westside Pine? The Pine is more similar to a Verdict, I would say, but not quite as overstable. The Pine is, from what I remember, I only threw it in the Trilogy Challenge. The Pine is beadless, and it kind of has like the high speed stability of an eMac Truth with the low speed stability of the Verdict. So it's kind of going to give you just a hint of turn, but it's going to have a more dependable, not dependable, but a more aggressive fade, we'll call it, where the eMac Truth, as you saw in those clips, kind of wants to sit soft or maybe finish out just a little bit on a flat shot, where the Pine is going to want to fight over and get left and get down on its edge more. How's the Lucid X eMac? I actually have not thrown one of those, so hopefully Eric is still in the chat and he can let us know. But I actually have not thrown a Lucid X eMac. From what I've heard, they're a little bit more overstable, similar to like a Moonshine eMac, but I have not. eMac says beefy, so okay, there you go. I would guess it's probably pretty similar to a Verdict then, so maybe even a little bit more than a Moonshine. Eric, hopefully you can clarify for us. Would you say? Now this is me participating in the chat. Eric, would you say the Lucid X eMac Truth is the most overstable eMac Truth? Or would something like, did we ever do Fluid Moonshine eMacs? I think we did. Lucid X is the most overstable but hard to find, very rare. Yes, I know he had some, I think at GBO maybe, or maybe that was even this year, a little bit later in the year. But yes, those are definitely very hard to find. If you can find one and are willing to throw it, good on you. I would not be. I would keep that thing tucked away in a closet, in a bag, in a shoebox or something. Got my mystery box not too long ago. Very nice. Uno. Andrew says, Justice beefy. I would be surprised if it was as overstable as a Justice. Bobby says, I bet Eric throws his close to 400 feet. I bet Eric could do that if he wanted to. You're absolutely right. Chris says, my eMac Truth replaced my Rock 3 in my bag. It's just a better all-around disc. I didn't say that. You did, Chris. I just broadcasted it to the people. Hopefully the Lucid X eMac is in my mystery box. Gotta wait another week for my birthday. I got my fingers crossed for you, man. I got my fingers crossed. What's the coupon code? Robert, it is eMac Truth 15. I'm not sure if it's case sensitive, but just to be safe, capital, all caps eMac, capital T, and then the number 15, and that's on Moonshine, Lucid, and Fusion eMac Truths. And that lasts all the way until midnight Central Time on Tuesday, December 11th. Ian says, is it better to bag multiple eMacs or have different mids for different shots? Ian, that's the beauty of disc golf, man. You can do it however you want. If the guy in the chat right above you had anything to say about it, everyone would bag a million eMac Truths. And that's definitely not a bad way to do it. Like, you could have, here, we'll go with a Moonshine eMac for your overstable eMac shots, because it's got that little bit of dome, a little bit more stability. We'll go with a Fusion Burst eMac, because super pretty for kind of straight hyzer flip eMac shots. And then we'll take a Prime Burst eMac and we'll beat it up, and that will be our understable mid, our super hyzer flip to turnover, maybe if you try and throw roller shots. So here, that's what I would say. If someone's trying to build an entire mid-range lineup with just eMacs, that's what I would go with. Moonshine, Fusion Burst, and then a Prime Burst as well. Get you some style points, get you some nice birdies. So Eric says, Lucid X, this is in order from most overstable to least. He says Lucid X, Lava, Moonshine, Lucid, Fusion, Classic, Prime, and Blend he put all together, and then Biofusion in that order is what he says. So if you are looking for an eMac Truth of any stability, there's your list right there. Love my Moonshine eMac and Fusion, Tyler says. Very nice. Looking to replace a Z-Line Buzz in my bag. Would the eMac Truth be a good place to start? The eMac Truth would be a good place to start and finish for that. I think the eMac Truth is the perfect buzz replacement. I think for me, when I used to throw buzzes a long time ago, they were too unpredictable and they were too nose angle sensitive, where the eMac Truth, yes. Sorry, I was getting some behind the scenes questions about the coupon code, just spelling and everything like that. But yes, someone was asking, replacing a buzz with eMac Truth. The buzz was a little bit more nose sensitive, where if I just was off on my angle just a little bit, it wouldn't help me out. But where the eMac Truth is kind of my buddy, he's got my back. Where if I'm off just a little bit, it's still got that stability where it's not going to dump over. If I come over on it too much, it's just going to go straight. Or if I throw it with too much hyzer, it wants to flip up and just go straight, which is what this thing does. So I would say if you're looking to replace your buzz 1000%, I would start with the Lucid eMac Truth, and then just depending on how that one works for you, maybe you could add a Biofusion for an understable one, or a Moonshine for more overstable. But definitely check out the Lucid eMac Truth. eMac Truth, coupon code eMac Truth 15. Save yourself some money. Let's see. Do we have any more questions? Once again, the stream numbers just keep climbing. We are going to be giving this guy away here at the end of this stream. So be sure to stay tuned for that. We are going to give this away to someone. Eric said he's out of town right now designing another super sweet course, but he's more than willing to sign this for you, whoever wins it, or if you use the coupon code eMac Truth 15 before Wednesday of next week, if you use it before December 12th, I can guarantee you, I will personally have Eric sign it for you. So eMac Truth 15 on Lucid, Fusion, and Moonshine eMac Truths. And that's only for the stock stamp, not any sort of fundraisers or anything like that. Is the code good for the chocolate eMac? No, Dan, unfortunately it is not, but that would be hilarious if it was. Those are actually really good, by the way. My Lava seems more than my Lucid X. Maybe Eric can do an eMac video on stability? Well, you know what? Eric said, I like that. I'll make it happen. Eric, if you need help with that, I will make helping you happen. That's definitely something we could do with all of these different plastic varieties and all the different plastics that the eMac Truth is available in. I think that's a super good idea. Yeah, because there's just a ton of them. And you can use them all for the same thing. You can use them all for different things. So very good question, Zach. I think that is something that we should definitely do. What store is the code good for, Martin asks. Martin, that is good for dynamicdiscs.com. It is also good if you're in the Emporia area or if you're going to be in the Emporia area. You can absolutely use that in-store as well. Just tell the cashier, whoever it is that checks you out, that you want to save 15% on your eMac Truth, because you know it's going to get you minimum 15 birdies on your next round. That's a guarantee. Is the code good for Bio eMac, Zachary asks. No, Zachary, I do not believe so. As far as I'm aware, it is just Moonshine, Lucid, and then the Fusion eMac Truths. Are you as excited about GBO as I am? Oh, it will be my first, and I'm so excited. Don, that's awesome. Not only was my first, okay, obviously I had a first GBO, but it was also my first disc golf tournament, which was ridiculous. I just straight up jumped right into it. Go to the biggest, go to the best tournament. I figured, why not? But yes, Don, we are super stoked about GBO. We are very much so in the beginning stages of planning 2019 GBO for sure. Hopefully everyone is registered, because as of this morning, Doug said there was, count 'em, 3 spots left open in the entire field. So hopefully you guys are all registered. That would be super sweet. Don, when you're in town, if you see me, say what's up. Hopefully you have a great time. I know you will. And hopefully you can play super well. Let's see. Moving to Kansas City next year, would you say Emporia has better courses? Gosh, I haven't played all the courses in Kansas City to answer that. I would probably give the edge to Kansas City just from what I've heard about some of the courses there that I haven't played, but that's definitely not a knock against Emporia courses. If you are just trying to play a bunch of courses in a day, I think Emporia has Kansas City beat, just because of Emporia is that big, Kansas City is this big. All the courses are so spread out, but Kansas City has very, very high quality disc golf. You will not be disappointed. All I can carry from the selection behind you promo code? Yes, Chris, if you want to buy all of those, you can use promo code eMac Truth 15 on those discs, some of them, but unfortunately, let's see, we've got Marshalls, we've got Judges, I'm Team Warden, so definitely a lot of putters going on back there. Let's see, Eric says Kansas City has much more variety. Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard, is Kansas City has, like, you've got Rosedale and then you've got Down Under, which are right next to each other and totally different styles, of course. And then you've got some big long ones like, what is it, Blue Valley, Waterworks, I've heard has a ton of elevation. So yeah, Kansas City has some super great disc golf. Matthew says, I use a Shark from Innova. How would the eMac differ from it? All right, Matthew. So as it turns out, the Shark was actually the very first disc that I ever bought. That was the first disc I ever played disc golf with. And I think the eMac Truth is honestly really, really similar. Someone earlier said that they replaced their Rock 3 with an eMac, which I think is a super good replacement. I think that guy's name was Chris. He said he replaced it because it's more versatile. You can do more with it. And I think that's absolutely right. I think the Rock 3 has just a little bit more of the low-speed finish at the end of its flight, where the eMac is just going to go straight. And I think the Shark is kind of like that as well, where it's not quite as overstable as that. I think his name was Chris. Not quite as overstable as the Rock 3. So I think the eMac Truth and the Shark are very similar. If you have, like I started with a DX Rock, I would super highly recommend picking up one of these sweet bursty prime eMac Truths, or there are classic, and then I think there's even classic blend eMac Truths I've heard. That would be pretty sweet. I know I've been asking for that for a long time. Some more base plastic mid-ranges. I love it. I love it. Is the eMac Truth more stable than a regular BioFusion Truth? Robert asks. Yes, Robert. Just like Dan said, yes, absolutely. Pretty much any eMac Truth is going to be more stable than a Truth. That's kind of what the difference is. The Truth is kind of a hyzer flip mid-range out of the box, where the eMac Truth is kind of your straight to slightly overstable mid-range. It's just a tick of a step up. Eric says, I have some blend eMacs releasing soon. Eric, holler at your boy real quick when you get back, and then the rest of the chat can have their pick. He read my question. What? Robert says. I sure did, Robert. I will order them ASAP, Tyler asks. Awesome. Let's see. So if anyone else has questions, just like, where do you go, Robert? If anyone else has questions, I will more than happily answer them, read them for you. Yeah, we'll just get them, we'll get them going. I do have those clips, again, that we will go ahead and show you. And as you can see, this is into about 5 miles an hour, maybe 10 miles an hour. Not huge winds, but enough. And you can see I threw that not super hard with some hyzer, and the wind just got under it, and it stayed hyzer forever. It actually never came down. No, that's not true. That's actually the one that we're going to be giving away at the end here. And this is another Lucid eMac, hyzer flip into the wind, and it just goes straight. No fade on it at all. Just sat soft right on the ground. This is now in that same tailwind, flat release, kind of hard and a little bit too low, a little bit lower than I wanted, but you could see there was no turn, no fade out of it. And this is that same blue Lucid with just a touch of anhyzer, and now it's fading out. That whole time, I mean, that was probably, if I had to guess, I would say that was probably 300 to 320, excuse me, and it didn't start fading until 280. So if you are just looking for straight, like, I don't know how else to describe the eMac Truth. This could be both the longest and shortest episode of DG Weekly Live that we ever do, because I could just say it's the straightest, it does everything, it's the most versatile disc that we have, and you need a lot of them. Or I could just talk and ramble all day and all night, and I'll still be here when you guys wake up to go to work tomorrow, talking about all the different things that you can do with this disc, all the different things that it does. I really think that it's by far the most versatile disc in terms of shot selection that you can throw with it, in terms of skill level that it'll work for. Just across the board, I think this is the most versatile disc in the Dynamic Discs lineup. Like for someone like Eric McCabe, it's a super straight flying disc. For someone like my mom, who's been playing disc golf for 2 months, super straight flying disc. Like, it's going to be more overstable for her, sure. But you can throw it as your first disc, or you can throw it as a world champion. Over there on the boxes, Paige Bierkes' favorite mid-range. So multiple world champions throw them, and multiple beginners who it's their first disc throw them. This is one that you could have from the first day until the last day that you played disc golf. Has DD ever made a metal flake disc? Nicholas? Check this out. It might be a little hard to see on the camera there, but yeah, this one's metal flake. I got 2 of them on the table right here for you, Nicholas. Both of them are different GBO fundraiser discs. This one is the, I believe it's Coco Pelli GBO, and then this one, let's see, is, it doesn't say. I think this is just kind of a stock GBO fundraiser disc. Look at that stamp. It's got that sweet, like, black and gold smokiness to it. I love that one. So yes, Nicholas, we have absolutely made metal flake discs for sure. Ryan is trying to get me going, and he says, do you know Atlanta United is a 77% favorite to win MLS Cup? Ryan, the Timbers have been underdogs in every series that they've played in the playoffs, and they've won every series that they've played in. So percentages, favorite, underdog, really doesn't make too much of a difference at this point. The only number that matters now is who scores the most goals. And you guys know I'm rooting for my Portland Timbers. Come Saturday night, I will be either very happy or mildly upset, but fingers crossed that I'll be super happy. Brody says, I have 2 in my bag as of now. Sweet, Brody, what plastics do you have? I know when I used to bag multiple eMacs, I had Moonshine, and then I had a Lucid that was pretty beat up that I could hyzer flip real easy. And then my Moonshine was basically like a Verdict. Julio, let's go Timbers. Martin, all right, we got some fans out there. See, who was that trying to get me going there? Both Lucids, Brody says, awesome. Short flicks on forehand, but will turn over hard on turkey shots. I'm guessing that means tourney shots, probably just a typo there. Yes, the eMac Truth will absolutely, if you throw it on an anhyzer, it will hold the anhyzer a long, long ways. In those clips that you saw, I'll go ahead and play them again for you. I believe it's the last one, throwing that blue one on just a touch of anhyzer. It wasn't even like smashed over. It was just a touch of anhyzer, and it rode that, and that's with a tailwind as well. So you'll see it here in just a second. It absolutely, if you throw this disc on a hyzer, you're going to get a hyzer like you saw in that first clip. If you throw it flat, like you see in the second and third clips, it's going to go straight. If you throw it on an anhyzer, oh, torqued, okay. Yeah, if you torque over on it, like Brody said, it will absolutely hold the turn, but it's not going to dump. Sometimes your neutral flying discs they have a tendency to, if you force them just a little bit too much, or if you kind of have just a little bit of off-axis torque, it'll kind of wobble into the ground. But the eMac Truth it doesn't want to do that. It has no interest in flying poorly. It just wants to go straight, wants to go near the basket, and it wants to go far. Let's see, Nathan says, is this disc one of those controlled by arm speed? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that, Nathan. Is it controlled by arm speed? I'm guessing you mean like, is it affected by the arm speed? And with it being a neutral flying, slower flying disc, it's not going to be as affected as like a Defender. Whereas if you go out and you throw a Defender full power, you're going to get a pretty straight to overstable flight. But if you throw it at 20%, you're going to immediately get dumping hyzers out of it. But with an eMac Truth, if you throw it full power, it's just going to go straighter longer. Whereas if you throw it with 20% power, it's going to go straight for a little bit. But on a full power rip, it's just going to go straighter, exponentially longer, just depending on your arm speed, yes. Joseph says, Fuji versus eMac. Joseph, the Fuji was a little bit slower flying and more overstable, I would say. Similar to some, I forget what disc it was. Someone was asking about something earlier. Zach says, I tested the Fuji, only made me miss my eMac. Yeah, I think it's super similar. I think the eMac just glides a little bit more and has a little bit less fade at the end. So I think it's just a little bit more versatile, but I think the Fuji would be a little bit better in the wind. But I think a Moonshine eMac and a Fuji are very similar. I think a Moonshine eMac would do just as well in the wind. So Shark, yes, thank you, Tyler. I think a Moonshine eMac would do just as well as a Fuji in the wind. So if you bag a Fuji and you're looking for something with just a little bit less fade, definitely check out. I would say if you're looking for a little bit less fade, go with the Fusion. Here, we'll show off another sweet Fusion Burst eMac. That thing's sweet, kind of pepperminty, getting close to Christmas. Some sweets, sugars. Go with one of those guys, and that will give you a nice little bit straighter version of your Fuji, a little bit farther version of your Fuji. All right, if we do not have any more questions, which I'm sure we will, but there's also a bunch of new people in the stream, we are going to be giving this Lucid eMac away at the end of this stream. So if you have questions, we are getting close to that 30-minute mark. If you have questions, get those in real quick, and then we're going to give this bad boy away. And like Eric said, for those of you who are here at the very, very beginning, he's more than happy to sign this. And he's also more than happy to sign any and all eMac Truths purchased with the coupon code eMacTruth15. If you use that, you'll save 15% on Lucid eMac Truths, Fusion eMac Truths, and Moonshine eMac Truths. So you can save yourself a good chunk of change, get yourself a sweet eMac signature, and a really sweet disc. Christian says, compare it to a Compass. So Christian, I think the Compass is, it's more turn resistant. It doesn't want to turn as much as the eMac Truth at higher speeds. Like Eric McCabe, if he throws the eMac Truth on a hyzer, he's going to get a little bit of flip up. Whereas, at least for me personally, if I throw the eMac Truth on a hyzer flip line and I throw a Compass on that same line, I'm just going to get a little bit less flip up out of it. So I would say that the Compass is a touch more overstable, just a touch more turn resistant, but they are super similar discs. Both are very, very straight. I think as far as the entire DD, Latitude, and Westside lineups go, the most similar disc to an eMac Truth, I would say, is the Compass from Latitude for sure. Tyler says, can you sign my mystery box? Tyler, if you put it in the order notes when you order it, you can get signatures from any and everybody. We've had people specifically request they want Eric's signature, they want Rusko's signature. We've also had people say they want everyone to sign it, and so they'll bring the disc around or the box around or whatever and have everybody sign it. So yeah, anyone and everyone at DD is more than happy to sign any and everything that you want signatures on. Zombie eMac is so nice. Get one if you can. Yes, those are super cool. I love that stamp. How does the eMac Truth compare to a Warship? The Warship is kind of more... I've been talking about how the eMac Truth is fast and glides really far. The Warship is almost like... It's like a hybrid of a fairway and a mid-range. So I think you're going to get a little bit more glide, a little bit more distance with it. But I think also the eMac Truth provides a little bit more stability, a little bit more controllability, we'll say, a little bit more predictable, I'll say. The Warship kind of has a tendency to get a little squirrely on me if I just am off on my angle a little bit, or my release just isn't quite how I want it. Then it has a tendency to get away from me more than an eMac Truth would. So I think they're very similar. I think the Warship is just a little farther, and just the eMac Truth is a little bit more predictable, a little bit more stable. All right, we do have a couple more questions. We will get those, and then we'll give this thing away. eMac Truth versus Mako 3. Peter asks. Peter, the Mako 3 for me was more similar to like an Evidence, I would say. So kind of a hyzer flip to turn and then a touch of fade maybe. Where the eMac Truth is going to be a hyzer flip to straight. So I would say it's definitely more overstable, similar speed, similar glide, but just it's going to have a good bit more stability to it. TNM wants to know, what's the difference from a normal Truth and an eMac? The eMac is it's just got a little bit more stability to it. The Truth is going to be like a hyzer flip disc similar to the Evidence, where the eMac Truth is going to hyzer flip a little bit, but it's not going to hyzer flip as much, and it's going to fade out a little bit more. So basically, if you take your run-of-the-mill amateur and have them throw the Truth, and then you take Eric McCabe and have him throw the eMac Truth on the same release, they're going to fly pretty similar. Similar to how like the Saint and Saint Pro. The Saint Pro is going to fly for a Pro like the Saint does for an AM. Similar with the eMac Truth and the Truth, where it's just a tick up in stability. Feel-wise, they feel very similar in terms of profile and dome and everything like that. They feel very similar. The eMac Truths just have a little bit more stability to them. They can handle a little bit more power, a little bit more wind, things like that. How does the eMac respond to touch forehand shots? As long as you're smooth with it, as long as you have a nice clean release with it, it's really good. If you have the tendency to roll your wrist, or things come out with a little bit of wobble to them, then like any neutral disc, it will ride over. It will kind of fight the direction you don't want. I mean, maybe if you want it to go right to left for a right-hand forehand, it will do that. But yeah, if you have a nice smooth release, it's super, super good. So we are getting a little bit over our 30-minute mark here. So I do want to say thank you everyone for watching. Once again, if you do not win the giveaway for this guy that we'll do in here in just a second, if you do not win that, please use the coupon code eMacTruth15, all capital eMac, EMAC, and then capital T as well. I'm not 100% sure if it's case sensitive, but just to be safe, that's the way that we have it in our system. So be sure to use that to save 15% on the Moonshine eMac Truths, the Fusion eMac Truths, as well as, oh my gosh, did I not even, we'll just take this one. Oh, it's up there. Lucid eMac Truths, 15% with the coupon code eMacTruth15. And now for the part that everyone has been waiting for. Who is going to win this sweet eMac Truth? This is the one that I used in the clips of me throwing. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to ask you a question, and then we're going to wait till like 5 or so people answer, and then we're going to pick one of those 5 people. Unfortunately, I can't do the first person to get it right, just because once a bunch of people start commenting, YouTube will auto-filter some things, and sometimes I don't see the first person to actually get it right. So that's why we're going to wait, and then we're going to pick one of those 5 people. And while we are waiting for those answers, I'll go ahead and show you those clips of it flying. of it in action. This super, super sweet mid-range. The question for this Lucid eMac Truth giveaway here is, there has only been one mid-range in the Dynamic Discs lineup that has been discontinued. What is that mid-range? I want to know the name of that disc that was discontinued. As it's the only mid-range that we have ever discontinued. We're talking about mid-ranges. The eMac Truth is the staple mid-range in just about our entire team's bag. Even people who aren't on the team, like me, staple in the bag, absolute staple in the bag. So why would we not make the trivia question about a mid-range? So there's a bunch of people, holy cow. Usually it'll take a second for people, but goodness, you guys know your stuff here. I don't even see a single incorrect answer. Good job, everyone, holy cow. All right, so the way that we'll pick our winner, usually we do some sort of math with the flight numbers, and this one's pretty easy. It's a bunch of round numbers, 5s, 0s, and then a 2 thrown in there. So we're gonna take speed 5, we're gonna add 5 glide, so we got 10, 0 turns, so we're not gonna do anything, and then we're gonna add 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and find the 12th person that I see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is Jose James, I believe it is. So Jose, send a message to the Dynamic Discs Facebook page. Let me know your shipping information. If you want me to have Eric sign this, I am more than happy to make sure that that happens for you. And then let me get that shipped out to you or signed for you, and we will get that sent to you. And hopefully you can get some super sweet birdies with it. I know you will. And thank you everyone for watching. We will be back next week with another episode here of DG Weekly Live. Everyone else, use the coupon code eMacTruth15. Save yourself 15% on what I truly, truly believe is the most versatile, the most well-rounded, the most workable disc in our entire lineup, the eMac Truth. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll go ahead and show those clips one more time, and then we will get out of here, and we will see you all next week.